You're welcome. Nothing is being picked up. Oh no. Oh, there it is. Sort of. Hello and welcome. This is just a quick one. And everything's not in its place. Oh no. There we go. Hello! An ambi stream I can watch for once without school interference. How goes it, Chandler? Hello and welcome back, Marcus. It's been a while. It's been a while. I'm not in my usual setup, so everything's kind of a mess. But I'm doing good. It's been a while. I had no real plans other than, you know what? Update some of my assets to match with some of the new stuff that I've made. You gotta be festive in your new model and you're drawing a new model variation. Yeah. I need more chibis for thumbnails. I need more. I still need to make one for the other outfit as well. Hello! Welcome, Mercury. I just came back from listening to Rocksteady by Aretha Franklin, Ironside by Quincy Jones, A Message from the Inner City by Crusaders, and Hurricane. Hello! Welcome back! This is probably going to be a little bit more on the chill side, because... yeah. Kind of forgot that this week I was supposed to be doing something. As always, I listen to music. Nice. I couldn't find my usual background music stuff, so I just put, like, some classical music in the background. You need two, actually. One for the Alucard one, and the long-haired werewolf that's your Twitter profile. Yeah, technically I need to make the alternate version of the vampire one. Not the vampire one, but like the Alucard looking one. Because I already do have a chibi for that. It's just I updated that one with a more Dante look. And I did not finish that one. Although that one should be easy because it's not going to be that much to alter. Yeah. Classical's fun. For the I love listening to classical music. Tchaikovsky, Bach, Chopin, Mozart. The classic. Honestly, I kind of just needed something that's without words in the background. And most classical music falls under like public domain or something, so. It's just easier on the brain. Classical music can also really set the scene for a horror movie, if done well. War March of the Priests, for instance. Ooh. Speaking of old movies again, I finally saw Night of the Living Dead a couple days ago. Classical music inspired a lot of music genres from blues, jazz, rock, soul, disco, EDM, etc. Yeah. It's timeless. Ah, yes, one of the only non-saturated zombie productions I actually enjoy. It's the one that started it all, pretty much. And honestly, I do prefer it over other zombie movies I've seen. Because it's like less about the zombies and more about the situation itself. I mean, part of it is because it barely had any budget, but still. You can do a lot with barely any budget. Absolutely, classical music has been the foundation of music. This is why I said I only care about groove and soul, not lyrics or language. Yeah. You can do a lot with so little, honestly. I've also been finding it fun to watch some classic movies. Or at least movies that have, like, impacted genres, I guess. I still want to watch Monty Python, The Holy Grail, because I see so many funny clips from that. And I want to know what the full thing is about. Absolutely. Oh, why is the message showing up to us? It's basically a better version of The Walking Dead. What do you think about the Evil Dead franchise, though? I haven't watched that. Haven't watched Evil Dead. I'm also a little bit familiar with The Walking Dead because my dad was watching the TV show. All I know is that, it's apocalyptic. Absolutely, even classical music influenced movie scores and progressive rock. Yeah. Me. For some reason, I think some of the sound is cutting out. It probably is. I'm not in my usual space. I'm a little bit too far from the mic, too. I had to make a setup. And it's probably not the best. Especially for my spine. I have to, like, crouch. I'd be making do with what I got. Nothing can stop me now. This is why I said I respect your elders, because they went through a lot to get where they are now. Yeah. Me is a Monty Python and the Holy Grail reference, by the way, if you haven't seen any clips with that part. That rings a bell. I just saw Nee and I thought of Blue Exorcist. But I know what you mean now. I associate Nee with the little Nee. Have you seen Blazing Saddles or Young Frankenstein? Both are movies that I want to watch on my list. I have seen a few Dracula movies, though. I've seen about 2 so far. I want to watch the actual original one, though. Well, actually, I've seen, like, 3. I mentioned Nosferatu, which technically is supposed to be Dracula, but they couldn't call it Dracula. By the way, I just came back from listening to Always Look on the Bright Side by Monty Python and the Exorcist theme. Ooh. What knee do you mean? I don't think I know the one you mentioned. It's like a little green demon from Blue Exorcist. It's like this cute little plant creature that one of the characters can sing. And it can grow any kind of plant you need for medicine. And it's the cutest little creature. And it's named Me, because that's all it says. If you want to watch the OG Dracula, watch Nosferatu too. It's basically the book-accurate Dracula, but with artistic license. Yeah, that's the one I saw first. I think I did mention it that I was watching it with my dad, but he wasn't reading the screen, so I had to keep summarizing everything that was happening every so often, because sometimes he would get up and leave the room, and I'm just like, oh no. You're the one who wanted to watch the movie, please sit down. Oh, and speaking of other, like, horror movies or whatever, I also saw 13 Ghosts, the one from the 60s. Another, like, B-movie, horror movie, and honestly, that was interesting. Interesting to see what you can get away with in the 60s. When it comes to child endangerment. I mean, in context of the story, honestly. That was kind of funny. I don't know much about Blue Exorcist. It's one of my favorite anime. Well, actually, manga series. The anime is kind of a weird situation, because it's one of those series where the first season kind of derails halfway through into a different whole plot. But it also has new seasons that actually follow the manga. I mean, I've seen people talk about some of these old movies, but I haven't actually watched some of them, and I want to watch. Hello, Adriana, bestie! We draw in assets today. Thanks for this. I forgot what my schedule this week actually was. Marcus has returned. Obviously, I'm probably not gonna be streaming on Thursday, but like maybe Friday? Big air quotes on maybe. I don't think I'll be able to do Friday, but tomorrow I can. I am not in my usual setup, so everything's kind of a mess. I have to crouch to draw, and it's not fun. But I do it anyway, because I actually want to get this chibi drawn. Updating my assets. If you want some old TV shows that are movie quality, I recommend The Rabbit Hole. That is the works, but directed by Gary Anderson. If Thunderbirds rings a bell, that was a show by him. I mean, I've watched a good amount of old TV, honestly. Who that ortho? No, that's me. Is me. Ortho inspired, but not really. Although I did draw ortho yesterday, I'll probably share the link to the image after stream because I kind of forgot. I finished it last night. The Halloween ortho. He's so cute. He's like a giant plushie. I love him. Also listen to the 1965 Thunderbirds theme song. So cute. Yeah. Ortho's Halloween Nightmare Before Christmas outfit is so adorable. And his legs are ridiculous. I love it. He's ready for the snow, that's for sure. If you want a good old cartoon to watch, check out Watership Down. It gets very crazy very fast. Oh, I've heard about Watership Down. That's definitely a movie that if I saw it as a kid, I would have been way more traumatized than I am right now. Because the last unicorn traumatized me as a kid, okay? If I saw that as a kid, I would be a mess. Are there any updates for Twisted Wonderland so far? Also, Ortho, best cards. Well, other than we have the name of the Oogie Boogie character, I think so far it's just the first event for Halloween so far. In terms of updates. And Ida's birthday is going to be coming soon in December, but we're not in December yet, so... I don't watch movies anymore because I find them either too boring or just reused concepts, although I still enjoy 70s movies and horror. Watership has nothing on the Plague Dog stuff. That movie I heard about too. I've heard about Plague Dogs as well. Again, a movie, if I saw that as a child, I would have been extremely traumatized. Because I was a softie. I cried at everything. Bro, the last unicorn made me cry and scared. The unicorn saying, "What have you done to me?" when she turned human. I died. I don't think I got that far the first time I watched it. The bull shows up in like a flashback or something, and I just remember that part scaring me. That I just left the room. I couldn't finish the movie. I don't even know if I got that far. I just remembered the scene with the bull. Plague Dogs, wow, haven't heard that in so long. Not all modern movies reuse the same concepts. Have you seen The Wild Robot? Oh, I love The Wild Robot. I saw that one. That was very wholesome. I loved that one so much. It's one of those movies where it's like, it has like... kind of reminds me of some older movies too, you know, like how in the 2000s there was a lot of like movies that had like a sort of parental theme to them. That's what that one reminds me of. Like what it means to be a parent, what it means to grow up, things like that. That movie was so cute. We need more. I'll go listen to James Bond theme by Lalo Schifrin, SWAT theme, Rhythm Heritage. Okay. But a lot of movies did that. I also watched Wild Robot. Just not for me, but thanks. Bye-bye. Understandable. But I loved that movie. The crazy thing about The Last Unicorn was that the people who made Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Santa Claus is Coming to Town also made it in the Hobbit, animated Hobbit. Ah. I knew about the animated Hobbit movie, but like I didn't know that they were working on The Last Unicorn. I watched a stop-motion Pied Piper once. Boy, that movie was dark. I think I've heard about that one. I don't know. I definitely didn't watch a lot of stop motion when I was younger, other than maybe like random bits of Wallace and Gromit or like Shaun the Sheep shorts. I remember watching a lot of Shaun the Sheep shorts. Those are funny. The Piper lover, I think, got... Then she was killed. Oh boy. That's not how I remember the Pied Piper going. His arm looks so goofy. What did I do? I've seen a review for that Pied Piper if I'm thinking of the same one you were. Fascinating. Also, I watched Powerpuff Girls as a kid. Yo, same. My favorite was Bubbles. Which is surprising because I usually liked red characters, but I also liked Bubbles. Probably because she was the only Powerpuff Girl I had a plushie of. So I had a plushie of one of the... We had like... I think we had all the Powerpuff Girls or something. I just remember the Bubbles one. My favorite was Mojo Jojo. Who remembers the Brave Little Toaster? I never watched it. It was always like one of the videos at my uncle's house, but I just never watched it. I just know that people from Pixar worked on that before Pixar was all 3D and stuff like that. And that animators from Big Idea helped Pixar in the early years. That's all I know. Like him and Professor Utonium. I love him. Please don't remember me of that movie. Oof. I like Bubbles. And Buttercup reminded me of a girl in one of my classes when I was younger. Mainly because of the short hair. you're partial to musical movies, I'd recommend Cabaret and going down the rabbit hole that is Cabaret on stage. Interesting. I might give it a shot, but I'm picky about musicals. It's like there's some musicals I can watch and some that I just cannot. It depends on how fantastical it is. That's just a weird me thing. So, of course, working on my Toontown event, so I watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit in the movie. Mickey shows up, so do I make Mickey just be there and have you be so confused? Or do I turn it back into a book event? I think Roger Rabbit could only work as a book event. Although, apparently the rights to Roger Rabbit have gone back to the original author, so... He's no longer Disney. It's like good for him getting the rights back, I guess. But also it makes me wonder, what are we gonna see Roger Rabbit in now? Because I like that movie. He's Disney in my eyes. Cabaret isn't sing-through, don't worry. It's basically a movie showing Nazi-controlled Germany through the lens of a cabaret bar called the Kit Kat Club, through the lens of an American journalist and singer. Ah, interesting. Though most versions, the singer is British. Interesting. Although that premise kind of reminds me of the fact that almost every year in music class, I had to watch The Sound of Music. For every music class I've ever taken. That's also partially why I have beef with musicals. Like, I kid you not, every year for, like, every music class, they put that movie on. And, like, we had to, like, watch it and answer questions for it. It was, like, an assignment. Like, it was some mandatory thing for some reason. I'm just like, I'm getting tired of this movie. I've seen it too many times. Please. Enough. Also thinking what voice would be for Bud and Jessie. Ooh! That'd be fun. Oh yeah, speaking of movies again, because I'm kind of still in the mood to try and watch more movies. I did watch Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein recently. And that was interesting. I think I liked that one better than his Pinocchio movie. It's probably a hot take, but I feel like his take on Frankenstein was a lot better than his take on Pinocchio. Because I've seen a few Guillermo del Toro movies, and sometimes they follow a lot of the same themes. But I think it worked better with Frankenstein. The Sound of Music is very different thematically to Cabaret. There's no sudden whiplash to the horrors of war. Cabaret eases you in and makes you complicit while still giving you slight unease, even from the first song. Interesting. I will take that into consideration. Oh yeah, that and West Side Story. It was either you watched The Sound of Music or West Side Story, like, for every music class ever. In my school district. It got on my nerves. It was like, can we please stop? Please give me something new. I like Jesse to have a deep voice and bun, kind of like a Pelinoy. Oh yeah. Speaking of Frankenstein, have you seen the Robert De Niro version? No. I've only seen the Del Toro one so far. I kind of want to look into more Frankenstein movies as well, because I'm also looking into more like Dracula movies. I do want to see the like Universal ones and some of the other ones too. Important pieces of cinema history. I had one in elementary school, and our movie was Mary Poppins. I think I've only seen that once in one of my classes, and that was about it. But like, I'd seen it a lot at like my cousin's house or something, because I have an aunt who really likes Mary Poppins. She was so disappointed with that second movie. She's like, that's not at all what I was expecting. I'm disappointed. Hello, Shadow Milk Cookie. Welcome back. The movies in my Spanish class because it was in Spanish. It was Pan's Labyrinth. We had to watch that in Spanish class. It was a very fascinating Spanish class. But I watched that in high school, so it wasn't as traumatizing. Who is Mary Poppins? Never mind. She is the lady who can fly with an umbrella. Yes. Yes, she is. Speaking of Mary Poppins, have you seen Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? No. My movie knowledge is not very vast. Random animation facts, yes. Movie knowledge, not so much. Which is funny because this outfit is also referencing a movie that I actually want to see. Which I still can't tell you about because that video has not come out. I am patiently waiting. Would Muzan's Japanese voice work for Jesse? K, is his voice even that deep? Good question. Well, if you like Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins, you're gonna love Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It's actually adapting a book by the James Bond author, believe it or not. Ooh. There's also a bunch of movies that I kind of want to see. James Bond. Also, that title is kind of fun. Although I do remember watching the first half of the Wicked movie. That was a weird experience because my dad was like, "Ooh, Wizard of Oz," and then he puts on Wicked, and I'm like, "You didn't know this was a musical? The original Wizard of Oz is a musical." At least the movie that he was like, "Ooh, the Wizard of Oz." Just like, what did you expect? Although for some reason it seems like Wizard of Oz is just a cursed franchise at this point. Although I haven't actually seen the stage play of Wicked, though. Or read the book that play is based on. I'm just not that into Wizard of Oz. I don't think your father knows just how deep the Wicked lore goes. No, he does not, because he doesn't really like musicals. Yet he apparently remembers the original Wizard of Oz, despite the fact that it's also, like, a musical. Although musicals back then had a very different style, though. That's probably why he forgot that it was a musical. Yeah, he does not know how deep the lore goes. I don't even know how deep the lore goes. I know there's also multiple books. Instead of just the original Wizard of Oz book. I mean, there's like a few more. Though I do enjoy watching old movies with my dad. It was kind of fun. Except for the ones where I have to read everything on the screen. Because he's not paying attention. It's like, please, you're the one who put the movie on. Ooh, I want a fun Japanese voice to be Mew from Demon Slayer, Japanese VA. I know I said I wanted it to be like a Pels, but meh. Fun fact, fun Wizard of Oz fact, before the MGM movie, there was actually a whole studio devoted to making Oz short films adapting more of the books. Ah. Interesting. I didn't know that part. Also, speaking of like random old short movies or whatever, apparently there's an even older Frankenstein adaptation that was like for a good while, and it was by Thomas Edison's film studio. well, not that recently, but it has been found. But it's like one of the earliest attempts to adapt it to film before the Universal movie, which I find kind of fascinating. Actually, I find a lot of Frankenstein adaptations fascinating because it's interesting to see what they keep and what they don't keep. Okay, Muzin Japanese voices Jesse's now. Yes, there is. The first Frankenstein was more of a short film and was from 1914 and is actually on YouTube. Yeah! Still find it funny how it advertised itself, apparently. It's like even following all those like ratings, sort of like puritanical censorship of like the 1800s or whatever. People still kind of were like, oh, so scandalous. The message kind of went over your head, didn't it? And for English, I was thinking Junie's VA from K-pop Demon Hunters. June's VA, sorry. To be Jesse and Bun's English VA. Abby, give me a male English VA with a kind of high voice. I don't know many. Most of my favorite VAs for male characters sometimes happen to be women. At least when it comes to English voices. Just one. I don't know. I don't even know what your character looks like. Give me a female then. Whoever voices Venti in English, I don't know. I forget her name, because I think her name changed recently or something, because she's like married or something. I don't know. And I don't know how to pronounce her name. I just know her first name is Erica. Bun, a human twin with Roger colors. Yeah, whoever voices Venti. In English. Oh yeah, that's good. Good. Because that's like one of the few frames of reference that I have. I was also gonna say maybe like Christina V, but that voice sounds a little bit too nasally. I mean, I like Christina V's work for the most part. Well, Beastman, I think. I mean, it's funny. Well, yeah, speaking of like random voice actors stuff, I had no idea that Ortho's Japanese VA voiced one of the characters in Fire Emblem Heroes. Like one of the new characters who's like this small boy character. I did not know he was voicing that character until I actually heard the Japanese voice for the character. I'm like, oh, it's him! Fenty is voiced by Erica Hart. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but yes, that's what I was thinking of. She's cool. Personally, I like Genshin, but I find Honkai Star Rail to be better. I haven't played Honkai Star Rail. I wanted to. I've seen the clips of Boot Hill. He looks hilariously interesting. I want to play the game just because of Boot Hill. That is an aesthetic. Truly a space cowboy. I have to go. Bye-bye, Gianna. Thanks for stopping by. Maybe we'll see you again tomorrow. Same time. Sort of. Honestly, it depends. And like, when it comes to like some of the voices in like Genshin, I like some of them, but not all of them. I feel like some characters have a better voice than others in English. Especially because it's like, yeah, some of these voice actors are actually good, but I feel like they're not really matching some of the characters they're voicing. Because, like, I heard Razor in English, and I'm like, that sounds kind of weird. I don't like how this sounds. But, like, the voice actor is actually a pretty good voice actor. It's just, like, I don't know, it just doesn't fit this character. Specifically. I promise you, Honkai's lore can be more confusing to get than Genshin. But it's also way more expansive if you don't mind turn-based combat. I really love Infinity Nikki too. Yeah, I've seen the gameplay for Honkai Star and all that. I never really paid attention to Genshin lore anyway, because I kind of just played it to play it. Like, I'm still stuck on, like, Inazuma because, like, I couldn't play the game for so long. And then I'm just like, oh, well, I'm behind now. I'm just playing catch-up at this point. Not really. But I still like all the character designs and kind of learning a little bit more about lore offhand to the side. It's also kind of fun. Although I do have one friend who actually pays more attention to the Genshin lore than me, so. Like, if I ever need more context for Genshin lore, I know who to turn to. And I've heard about Infinity Nikki. I mean, I played the other dress-up Nikki games before, but I haven't gotten a chance to try Infinity Nikki. But I want to, it looks cute. If you want another good online game with absolutely peak lore, especially on the fantasy side, I highly recommend Wizard 101 and its sister game Pirate 101. I remember those back in the day. It's still online? That seems fun. But like, it's hard for me to play some of these games though, because like, the only laptop that I have that can play most games does not have a lot of storage. It's like the only thing on there is Genshin Impact. Because like, if I try to download anything else, it just won't. There's not enough space. Because again, I have a MacBook, not a Windows. And I had to do fancy schmancy stuff on that other Mac laptop, so that way it's a Windows. But that like sacrificed half of the space on that thing. Not only are they both still online, but they're thriving. Wizard 101 is getting a prequel single-player Steam game, and it's coming to console. And both had major story updates in 2025. Wow. I did not know that. It's actually really cool. Especially because, like, most of the games that, online games that came out back then, especially the ones that were, like, geared toward a slightly younger demographic than, like, teenagers or whatever, they're, like, not around anymore. So I'm kind of happy to hear that something from back then is still. If I can play it on this laptop, maybe we can try Wizard 101 for the first time. It'd be fun. In 10,000 years, I think it's such a prick in the neck. Not all of them. Animal Jam still exists, as do Webkins. Webkins actually has a 3D version now, also on the outputs. Huh. I did not know that. Mainly because I never was allowed to play most of these games when I was younger. Mainly because, like, we didn't really have a computer. Like, we had only, like, one computer, and most of the games that we would play on it were, like, stuff that we bought at, like, Best Buy, so. I had Barbie Horse Adventure mystery rides on my computer. When I was allowed to play on the computer, it's like, yay! Time to play Barbie. Even though I wasn't really much of a horse girl growing up, that was like the only horse-related thing I would play when I was younger. It was always slightly different every time you played it. It was randomized. Pop Tropica still exists, but it's not in the best shape. Also, yes, I need you to share my Wizard 101 addiction. I remember Pop Tropica, and yeah, it's not as good as it used to be. I've never played any of the Barbie games before. Ooh, there's a lot. for many different consoles. There's like at least a Barbie game on there that's probably very functional and actually fun to play. Because I had a lot of Barbie games on Game Boy as well. That was based on some of the like movies that would come out. I was talking about this before, but I had a Princess and the Pauper game on my Game Boy. And I just remember the boss fight sequence to that was kind of like funny because it was in like a water tower or like inside of a well, I think. And it was either a tower or a well, something like that, because like you have to knock over a big old bell and it defeats the boss and the minions and they're just swimming away. Defeated. And I thought that was kind of funny. I also had a 12 Dancing Princesses game, but that was not mine. Somebody left that at my house and it's mine now. It's like, yeah, you can keep it. I don't want it anymore. Okay. That happened a lot, actually. That's how I got most of my Game Boy games. Somebody would forget it at my house. Forgot they forgot it at my house. I try to give it back to them and they're like, oh yeah, you can keep it. Or like, I didn't even know that they left it in the house and like, it's just mine now. It's like, thank you. I think some of them were also my cousins as well, but that didn't really matter. It was mostly when like, friends stayed over and they forgot their stuff. It's like, oh yeah, return your things. Oh yeah, you can keep it, okay. The only Barbie game I played is actually a mobile game because Barbie actually hopped on the merge game craze. I'm not surprised. There's like a Barbie game for like everything. And speaking of the ones that I had for Game Boy, they were, some of them, not all of them, but some of the ones that I had were actually developed by WayForward, which did the Shantae games. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And it's like very obvious because the sprite work is so cute compared to some of the other Barbie games that I had on Game Boy that were not by WayForward. They had very pixel art. The WayForward ones were much more cute and lively, that's for sure. They understood the assignment. But did you play the Barbie Virtual World game? No. Anything that was like online, like what you would think of like as an online like multiplayer game or whatever, I wasn't really allowed to play. It was either, if you got it, if it was like for a computer game, it would have to be like the CD-ROM thing, you know? No internet required. Although I think some of the CD-ROMs had internet access, but I don't know. Because I remember I had a Swan Lake game for the computer, but it never worked. Or at least not very well. I think the disc was damaged, though, so I'm not sure about that one. Speaking of old toy line games, Monster High, perchance? I didn't have any of those. I did have like this activity book where you can give the characters fashions. Like, it came with a bunch of stencils and stuff like that, and you can draw over the characters and give them, like, new outfits or whatever. I had that. That was, like, the only Monster High thing I owned back then. Because my parents were like, nah, you ain't getting those. It's like, first of all, you're getting too old for this, and second of all, no. They're monsters, no. I'm like, oh man. Like, the Monster High stuff that I did get, it was, like, the spin-off stuff. Like, the activity book or the, book series that was going on around that time. I wasn't allowed to have the dolls. They came out around an awkward time for me specifically because I was getting a little bit too old for it, as well as like the Bratz dolls were also kind of dropping in quality in my opinion. It was that weird post 2010 era. People kept complaining so much about like, these dolls are not appropriate for children. I think I've mentioned stuff like that before. Like that weird 2000s era where the nagging Karens practically won for a while and doll sales kind of were not doing so hot. The awkward second generation of Monster High. That was more later. But it's like, yeah, that's when that era of like annoying Karen moms were kind of like, we don't want our children playing with these dolls. It sets bad standards, bleh. You do realize instilling body image issues onto your kid is more of a you problem, not society's problem. I didn't know Monster High had books. I thought it just had games and the cartoons. Yeah, there was like a young adult book series that was going on for that. I have one of the books, though. It's the second one in the series for some reason. I don't have the first one. I have the second one, but there was like a few more. You mentioned it in the doll collecting stream. Yeah. Yeah, Monster High had a lot of like extra stuff that wasn't just the main dolls. As well as the movies that they would have on Nickelodeon, too. I liked watching those. And the webisodes. I liked those, too. And, like, the thing I liked the most about Generation 3 Monster High is mostly the doll outfit designs and all that, because they're actually really fun. I just don't like the new lore. The new lore is like, what are you doing? I don't like it. I ignore your lore. And speaking of like that new Monster High, I doubt they'll ever reintroduce Jackson and Holt to Monster High. Mainly because they kind of had a Jekyll and Hyde character in those live-action movies. And, yeah, I doubt they'll actually try and bring him into the dolls again because of that. Because the whole half-human, half-monster thing is now which is weird. It's like, man, why would you do that? Why would you do that to poor Jackson? Even though the character isn't Jackson/Holt. It's still the same monster concept, and I'm just like, why would you do this? Monster High doesn't work in live action. No. No, it does not. But there's actually going to be a different live action movie for Monster High. That's based off of the first generation, though. Because I remember hearing about that one. That's going to be, like, by Universal, I think. The same dude who directed Megan. Which explains why there's a Megan Selector doll of existence. even though I don't think most people liked the second Megan movie. I mean, I've never watched it, but I've heard some people didn't like it because like it kind of changed direction. But that doll was cool though. The Megan Collector doll has like a tearaway face, and I think that's pretty cool. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Referring to Monster High live action. Yeah, but I think the other one is probably gonna have a little bit of a better budget, especially in terms of like costume design. Hopefully, because the ones for Nickelodeon looked so cheesy. So yeah, sure, everybody had a fun time, woohoo, but it still did not look good. Glad you had fun, but it looked like a silly stage production. Because again, the original inspiration for Monster High was Universal Movie Monster. But Generation 3, I don't think is allowed to do that anymore for some reason, so... That's why all the characters have weird lore changes. I mean, at least the core Monster High characters were based off of Universal Movie Monsters and stuff like that. I wonder if it would be like Barbie 2023. I'm kind of disappointed in that Barbie movie. Mainly because an actual good premise for a Barbie movie was already done. And trying to do that with the actual Barbie would have probably been seen as like plagiarizing. Because I don't know if you remember the movie Life Size. I think it was like a made-for-TV movie. Or something. I don't know. I just remember seeing it a lot on TV. And it had like Tyra Banks or something. As like this Barbie doll-esque character who gets brought to life by accident. And learns what it means to be like a human. A mother. What premise do you mean? Okay, so like, if you ever seen the movie Life Size, this girl, she lost her mom, and she tries to bring her mom back through like voodoo shenanigans, but she accidentally brings her doll to life because she accidentally used the hair of the doll. I know the name. I know the Life Size name, but I don't know the movie. Yeah, it's basically like this Barbie doll-esque character gets brought to life by accident instead of this girl's mom. And this girl kind of has to teach this Barbie doll character how to be a real person because she's like way too overly positive and all that. I was like, that would have been a more interesting presence for like a live-action Barbie movie because that's kind of the vibe I kind of got from the trailers of that Barbie movie. It just did not go in that direction in a way that felt nice. Again, I also have same aunt who loves Mary Poppins, also loves Barbie. She saw that movie and she's like, I did not like that movie. Like, what did they do to my girl? And like from some of the reviews I saw of that Barbie movie, it felt like it was a parody of itself. Which isn't really a bad premise, because Life in the Dream House is kind of like a parody of Barbie. But it's done in a much more nicer way. Like with actual knowledge of like the characters and stuff like that. And the actual self-awareness. At least the Barbie movie, Ken, he was the best part. Yeah. The one good thing of the live-action Barbie movie. I think that's also what my aunt said about the movie. She only liked Ken. But she's like, why would they, why? 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 I'm just Ken. He's just Ken. He is Ken enough. Oh boy. Look at the time. Well, at least I got this down. This is something I can color later. It was fun yapping again. I like yapping. Honestly, my favorite part about doing streaming stuff is just kind of yapping. Indeed. We got line art done. I still need to adjust stuff. There's like still missing things on there. Like the rings and whatnot. The chains or whatever. And more wires. But other than that, it's done. For now. Tomorrow I'll probably work on the other one because I might finish this one later. Because again, I need to update my little chibi assets. Although actually the other one is just going to be like more of like a recoloring editing thing. That one's not going to take that long. Yeah. Obviously, no Thursday stream. Friday is questionable. Tomorrow, yeah, I'll probably stream again. I don't know if it's going to be at the exact same time though. It really depends. But yay! See you tomorrow! I'm Ken enough.